Hello everyone, welcome back to the first Project Gladiator Wednesday update. This is supposed to be a update on the weather for the rest of the week, which is supposed to be a follow-up video for the weekly overlook. This was expected to be posted on Wednesday, however, due to some things that I had to do yesterday, it's going to be postponed to Thursday, which is right now. So let's take a look at the weather from the rest of the week using our NAM 3 kilometer models. Not really a lot has changed. In fact, the models have been a little bit more on a decline as far as how severe our weather is going to be. It's not expected to be severe. I mean, that is more of a term as like how impactful it's really going to be. So let's take a look at our 500 millibars. You can see that we are expected to have quite a bit of activity. We are expected to see a remaining very zonal jet stream out of the Pacific Ocean impacting the Pacific Northwest, leading to quite a bit of rainfall and quite a bit of frontal systems that has come through that area lately. And then we are also expected to have a shortwave trough that is expected to make its way south out of Canada and continue impacting mainly around the northern half of the United States, anywhere from North Dakota in the northern half of the Central Plains and northern Midwest into Ohio River Valley and the New England area. This is expected to have a cold front attached to it, or not really attached to it, or being really pushed along with it. Is expected to be dragging behind, really. You can see a little bit of a shortwave trough is expected to be embedded in that flow. Notice how the isobars aren't really completely fluid. They aren't really taking on the fluid shape as what you would have with a low pressure system and no embedded shortwave trough. But you can see that our isobars kind of look like this with a little bit of a kink in the trough or kink in the flow right there. That is going to be an embedded shortwave trough, and that's going to be causing the cold front to be dragging a little bit behind compared to the primary low pressure system. So that cold front is expected to kind of drag behind more so back towards the Ohio River Valley into the Midwest and possibly even back into the Central Plains as that primary low pressure system races off into the New England area. And then that shortwave trough should break away and kind of become the primary trough for that cold front and kind of push it along the eastern United States. Over the last couple days into early next week. Um, there's not really a lot that I really have to cover as far as that low pressure system. The low pressure system is probably the primary thing that I really had to cover, but the majority of our rainfall, because of that very long lasting zonal jet stream impacting the Pacific Northwest and the various frontal systems that we are expected to see and have already seen, that isn't expected to stop anytime soon. And that is going to lead to tons of rain for the Pacific Northwest, and that's where the majority of our rain should be isolated to. Taking a look at our composite reflectivity and our timing for these rain showers and storms, please forgive me if I do get anything wrong as far as timing with your respective time zone, as I am not very good with time zones just yet, but I am hoping to improve. So please be patient with me if I do get any of these times wrong with your respective time zone. So let's start off with the Pacific Northwest in the start of the main front that is expected to make its way across the Pacific Northwest. We are expected to see pretty much constant rain for the Pacific Northwest for the second, but we should have a break in between with pretty much no rain for the third for a vast majority of the area, but we could still have some isolated rain showers further towards the east. But that's really going to only last for a day with much more rain on the 4th with a new frontal system. But now let's take a look at the timing for that low pressure system. You can see that that low pressure system as it makes its way south out of Canada, and that cold front in that low pressure system should really meet up and kind of conjoin together, and that's originally what's going to keep them separate and allow them to kind of split away from each other around the Ohio River Valley area later on. This frontal area is expected to reach kind of the high plains of Wyoming and Montana somewhere around the third, and that low pressure system should enter the northern United States and North Dakota and South Dakota around the third as well, and again kind of conjoin. Now let's see where it goes after this. You can see it is expected to kind of track across the northern Midwest and then across the northern Ohio River Valley. It is expected to enter the Ohio River Valley sometime on the 3rd. This is expected to be a very quick moving storm with some rain showers for the Chicago area around the 3rd as well, the late afternoon of the 3rd. And on the 3rd, sorry, the 4th, we are expected to see some rain showers for the Ohio River Valley for Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, as well as Lake Erie and the Erie area of Pennsylvania, as well as some rain showers back into New York and the some areas of the New England region. And then that cold front should kind of drag behind, as you can see, a line of some precipitation dragging back into the Midwest and Central Plains as that low pressure system kind of breaks away and that primary low pressure system races off to the north. That is going to lead to possibly some weak and very light or lingering rain showers in the Ohio River Valley in the Midwest. That could potentially lead to some impacts in the very, very late week into early next week. So that's something to be watching out for next week, as we could have a little bit of rain come from that lingering cold front as that pushes eastward into early next week. Now let's take a look at our instability for those that may be concerned about some severe weather. You can see for the vast majority of the week and for the entirety of the rest of the week, we are expected to have little to no ample instability to really support a threat for severe thunderstorms anywhere in the United States. We are not expected to have instability that's really going to be getting into the 1000s at least anywhere in the United States this week or for the rest of the week. And that's going to lead to overall no threat for severe thunderstorms with this system as it moves across the northern half of the United States. Taking a look at our quantitative precipitation and where we should see the majority of our rain this week, you can see for that low pressure system and cold front for the later half of the rest of the week, we are expected to see pretty much less than an inch for the areas that are expected to be impacted with that. Maybe some areas in Nebraska and some areas in New York possibly getting into an inch, but overall widespread, we shouldn't really see a whole lot of rain from this, and rain is expected to be very light in the later half of this week with that low pressure system and cold front. But the majority of our rain is expected to be isolated, more so back towards the northwestern United States, as we are expected to see pretty much constant rain and have been seeing constant rain for the Pacific Northwest, with areas in the Pacific Northwest that could be seeing rainfall totals along the coast getting up to 7 and possibly even up to 10 inches in some areas. That is definitely going to be leading to the threat of some coastal flooding. In fact, we have seen many threats for flash flooding for the Pacific Northwest, especially along the coast, and there are expected to see there and even then, there are expected to be more threats for flash flooding on the way, with some later dates that could potentially be seeing some coastal flooding due to the amount of rainfall that we are expected to see in the Northwest. But overall, we aren't really expected to see all that much rainfall outside of the Pacific Northwest, as the majority of our rainfall is going to be mainly staying put in the northwestern United States. Taking a look at our temperatures, focusing on that low pressure system that is expected to come out of Canada with that cold front. Overall, because this is going to be a cold front, it is expected to be a little bit more of a weaker cold front, especially compared to the cold front that we had last week. Even if it is going to be a little bit more so on the weaker side, it is expected to bring temperatures down to freezing and even below freezing in some areas of the northern plains and northern Midwest. So that's something that you should be watching out for if you live in the affected area for the remaining half of this week. Is some areas in the north could see temperatures that are going to be getting below freezing, and then some of those colder temperatures could be dragging south with that cold front as it continues to progress later on this week into the Ohio River Valley. Outside of the north, it shouldn't really be too strong of a cold front. Should make things a little bit more chillier in some of the places that could be a little bit more warm in the central, or sorry, the Ohio River Valley. But overall, it shouldn't really do all that much. Taking a look at our total snowfall, for those that may be concerned about snow, the majority of our snow is expected to be isolated more so back into the Pacific Northwest. Overall, we aren't expected to see a ton of snow, especially compared to last week, and we could potentially see some snow outside of those areas as well, with some very isolated areas of the northern U.S. for the northern Midwest and the northern Central Plains, as well as some areas in the New England area as well. Could potentially see some very small amounts of snow, with the majority of it being more so back towards the Pacific Northwest. Overall, we aren't expected to see a ton of snow mixed in with the rain this week, but the threat for snow is still there for some areas. Taking a look at the freezing rain, overall, we aren't expected to see a crazy amount of freezing rain. However, the threat for freezing rain is still there. We could potentially see some freezing rain mixed in with some of the rain this week, with some freezing rain being mostly isolated to some very isolated parts of the northern half of the United States, and maybe some areas of the New England region. But overall, that's really about it as far as freezing rain. There wasn't really a lot to cover for this. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. And if you live in any of the areas that I covered for us today, please stay weather alert for the time being. And if you notice anything might have been wrong with this forecast or you would like to make a suggestion, please leave a comment. And hopefully I will be able to see you guys tomorrow with another forecast.